Hey guys, MC here again. Welcome to our 23rd LBP tutorial. This is probably going to be the last one for 2011. I'm going to be traveling to Europe for a while, and I won't be bringing my recording equipment with me. So this is going to be the last one we have for quite a while. But what I'm going to do is show you something that's really extendable to different ideas. It's really useful. You can use it in a lot of different ways, so it's going to give you a lot of things to play with until I can come back and talk about some new things. And what I'm talking about today is, of course, the material merge glitch, or the object merge glitch, or just merge. Basically what we're going to be doing is merging objects together that would normally collide in Little Big Planet. You wouldn't normally be able to overlap them. And what I've got for an example here next to me is a big laser arm from my Roller Ink 2 level. I had a lot of people asking me how in the world I made that, and so I'm going to basically break it apart and show you what goes into making something like this, and from there I will talk about some other uses for this material merge glitch. So what I'm going to do here is just first break off these little hologram pieces. A lot of people have been exploring hologram and uses with overlapping hologram and decorations to create cool things. And that's basically the same idea we're going to use for everything else, but this glitch is going to allow us to do it for things that are not just hologram or decorations, and are, for example, like a water bottle. You'll see that this is the water bottle from Little Big Planet 2 story, and I've just stickered it and decorated it. So I've copied that one. I can delete it. I've got another water bottle. It's smaller. Decorate it slightly different. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take off these other pieces. It looks like I've got a light. This one right here should be a razor from the Little Big Planet 2 story levels. And it's been just decorated, and this razor has a tweaker, or electric shaver I guess it's called. It has a tweak so you can change the little color details on that, and I've changed those to purple. And I've thrown some decorations on there as well. And then I've got another water bottle. And then some other little things. I've got a thin object from the Incredibles downloadable content. And then these here are just decorations that are placed on hologram. And by tweaking the hologram color, you can change what color is showing up on that decorations. That works for a couple other decorations like that, so you can play around with things like that. But basically, if we explode this view out, you see what this is all composed of. And all I've done is merge these objects together to create that laser arm. And now if I grab this water bottle and try to combine it with that other water bottle, you notice that it doesn't work. And if I copy it, it's not going to let me. It's going to squeak at me saying you can't do that. What the material merge glitch does is it allows us to bypass that limitation temporarily. So let's see if I can find it. Right here, merge tool. Now it says pause in the name. You have to make sure you're in pause mode when you place that down. If you don't, it's all going to blow up and everything's going to fall anyway, so it's not that useful. So make sure you're in pause mode, and also make sure you don't leave hover mode, because Sackboy's collision detection also breaks down and you pass right through the floor and Sackboy breaks. So make sure you stay in hover mode unless you want to break through the floor. And once I place this down, just quickly what this is, it's just about 100 pieces of this glass material that has been overlapped with the same thing. So it's just a bunch of them overlapped, and I'll show you how to make that at the end of this video. And when you overlap about 100 of those, I think it's about 93 or so, then collision detection breaks down to the right and above that object. And you'll notice that the screen kind of glitched a little bit there. Our frame rate drops pretty significantly when that's in the level, but it's still pretty stable, and when it's there, it allows us to overlap these objects. Now if I try to take the object and place it down with X, it's going to say, hey, you can't do that. But because it's already overlapped, if I just hit circle, it's going to be fine with that. And so I'll just quickly overlap all these things about roughly what they were before, and you'll see how this comes together once all these things are decorated to form this laser arm object. Now I'm going to show you a couple other cool things you can do with not just objects. You can do things with materials and such, but the basic idea of just placing down the merge tool object and allowing things to overlap, that's all we're focusing on really for this. And then I'm just going to provide a few hints for doing your own creative things. Okay, so I'm pretty much done here. Once I have everything in place, everything overlapped where I want it to be, then I can just come over and box select and delete that object. The frame rate will go back to normal, and you'll see that our objects are still overlapped. Now, you don't want to unpause yet. You want to make sure that you glue everything together, or else things are just going to fly off and break apart and basically behave a lot like the extra layers when you overlap them. Things break, things fly off in crazy directions. And let's see, I think I'm just going crazy with the glue tool here. It should be about all of it. And then when I unpause, they're all stuck together as one single unit. I haven't put any anti-grav or white matter or anything on there, so it's still going to fall, but everything is glued together the same way as normal. And so that's pretty much how this object was created here. I've made a couple of other interesting things, and I'll show you in a second, but first I'm going to show you how we can use materials to do some interesting things with merging. So I'm going to pull out a piece of the new toy plastic from the Toy Story content, and then I'm going to make a little piece of thin strip of material with this metal cage. Notice that I'm making them both in the thick layer here. What I'm going to do is eventually merge those to show off how certain objects have different thickness in the Z direction, and so that allows you to play with different mergings so that you can get interesting things. So I've got this material here. If I merge that on there, you'll see that that raised lip on the cage material is actually sticks out a little bit further than the toy plastic, and that crosshatch material in the middle, it doesn't. So when I overlap these, we get this nice little raised lip effect, and you could use that. So for example, if I made this really big, you can't resize objects when they're overlapped, but if I wanted to be really creative, I could create this little strip of material and do some nice visual things with that. So that's just little hints of things you can do with playing with material thickness in the Z direction. I'll just show you some other examples of things I've merged. So here I've made a submarine for a level I'm working on. If I start to remove some stickers, you'll see that we've got some more water bottles. We've got a couple of electric shavers in there. Let's see, we've got a water bucket from the Little Big Planet 1 story mode. We've got some spotlights. This here is a stapler, and then I've just got some material in there. I've got another water bucket back here, and some rockets. And these things are all merged together and then glued, and when they're all put together, we get this nice little submarine shape. Most recently, I have made a scoreboard in my heist level. It's going to be a series, and I've used these water buckets from Little Big Planet 1 for a wheel well because it has roundness in the Z direction that you can't create in other ways. Here I've set up a little scene. I don't think I'll ever use this, but it was kind of cool to make it. I've taken if I hide these materials, I've taken a test tube, which is another thing that has tweakable color to it. Oop, that's the bubbles. Test tube has tweakable bubbles, or tweakable color to it, and so I've made that blue. And then I've merged that into the floor so that we don't have to create seams to get that test tube to go down below the floor. You'll see that it sticks out below the floor. And so that's just another really subtle way of using the merge objects. Now I'm going to show you now, let's see if I can delete all this, how I've made the merge object, how I've made all these things overlap so that I can create this tool. And then I'm going to show you, if you're too lazy, where to get it. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create an emitter. So I'm just going to put that on some white matter. And this emitter is going to emit 100 things for an infinite lifetime. So we're just going to make it go so it goes quickly. Frequency down to 0. Lifetime at infinite. Max emitted at once is 100. And I'm just going to leave everything else right now. The things we're going to be merging together, I've already pre-captured it, but the object is basically that piece of glass, that square piece of glass material with a square hole cut in it. And then I've glued some white matter, or you can use dark matter, but I've glued white matter to it. Now when you've glued something to the matters, when they emit, they actually overlap one another. So what I'm going to do here is set up this object to emit over here, and it's going to constantly emit that object over itself, and eventually it's going to reach a limit where it's emitted 100 and it's going to start dissolving the first one it emitted as it emits the next one. I don't want that dissolve effect, so that I can stop that by just saying don't destroy the oldest when it reaches max. And now I've got 100 of these glass objects overlapped, and the reason that they don't fly off from one another is because I have these white matter pieces that are holding them in place. If I pause and delete that white matter, I've created that merge object. So it's really as simple as that. It takes a minute to put it together, and then I can just capture this and use it as my material merge object. And if I unpause it, you'll see that they all break apart once I deselect. You can hear a bunch of glass breaking. It all fell. And my emitters, of course, resetting them all. But that's the basic idea of creating the merge object. Now, for those of you too lazy to make that yourself, I have put it in a prize bubble in my data transfer level. Let's see if I can find that really quick. I've got way too many levels. So this data transfer level, I'll show you where it is on my moon. But basically you just copy it to your moon, and then come over this way. I have put it inside of a prize bubble. I had to do that because remember, when you've put it in the level, everything loses its collision detection and sackblade falls through the floor. It's not really what you want to do in a live level. So basically, when you want to use this, or you want to capture it, just copy this level, move this prize bubble over near the entrance here, just put it somewhere over here, save it, go to play mode, and you've got the object. And I know a bunch of other people were looking for my extra layers cascade. It is in the same level, it's up here. It's been there the whole time, but if you're not sure where to get it, that is where you go get it. And then we'll just return to pod here, and I'll show you where it is that I'm going to publish this so you can copy it for yourself. Data transfer, let's go ahead and publish that. It's up here on my North Pole right next to this big Avalon themed thingamajig. So just copy that from here and it's yours. So that's pretty much it for merging materials. You can do materials, objects, anything that would have physical properties. You can now merge them with this merge material object. And I want to see you guys doing some crazy things within the coming months. And I'll hopefully have some more tutorial stuff when I get back, probably in February. So thanks guys, it's been fun. Woo! Bye-bye.
The tutorials will unleash not only exciting tools and objects, but knowledge and the deepest secrets of the cosmos.